Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Titan has a hard on continually for the Vikings, and I'm glad you guys formed a bromance, but we are live, my friends.
Oh, goodness.
That was a snipe live,
Wait.
dude. I was yelling and cussing at
Sneaky.
No, it
Sneaky
didn't
over here.
happen. No.
And he just said,
Hold
we
up,
are
hold up,
live.
hold up. I feel
Man.
violated. I feel
Right.
violated.
I made sure
I
you
just-
guys were keeping it, within realms. But good evening, Salt Kingdom. It's 9 o'clock
Man,
on the
dude.
dot. Well, I think it's about 9 o'clock on the dot.
It is
Eastern.
9 o'clock on the dot.
And you know what that means? TSGP is back, and we're ready to talk about all the latest news and rumors in gaming, getting people triggered. Let's go. Thanks for everybody that's been here early. I got this bad boy out there in the wild of YouTubes, and it's been sitting open for like 5 hours, I think. And I've seen people in and out. There's lots of crazy things going on, man, and people are excited to talk about it. We're excited to talk to you guys. Let's keep it, like we always do here in the Saltiest Gaming Podcast. It doesn't matter what platform you like. We're just going to chat games. Make sure you say hi to the new people, make them feel welcome. But without further ado, let's get into the intros. Let's start off with our returning special guest. He is a Vikings fan extraordinaire. He lives in the UK. It is super late over there. I appreciate him, sacrificing some sleep coming on because he is a good friend. My buddy, the Welsh Gamer, how's it going?
What's going on, man? Cheers. Thanks for having me. And I tell you what, I was opening up to your good friend Titan here on the panel about the Vikings and our shared appreciation.
Oh, yeah.
And at this point, I felt like, I was getting out a special part of my body, like my butt cheek or my nutsack with a tattoo. And when you press that, I feel like a passers-by, like my ass cheek is out on the motorway with the window down. Oh my God, what's going on?
What in the world?
You guys,
Way to left field, right?
you guys have that Vikings connection. I was like, well, you guys could get a room, but I'm sure you guys will DM each other and be like, oh, the Vikings are so good. Oh, We
whooped on the Cardinals. We whooped on the San Francisco Punks
You
team.
shut your face.
Who's next? Who's next?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much all of our teams suck except for your guys' Vikings. So
Yeah, right.
No, I can
is
get
what
on
it is.
board with that.
Yeah, we're competitive over here.
yeah,
Not very,
we're all-
but we're competitive over here.
we're all salty about our garbage team. So it is what it is.
No, it's wicked though, man. Thanks for having me. This is awesome. I'm excited. It's 2 a.m. over here in the wonderful land of Wales. Ready to go.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you're here. Shout out to everybody in the UK, Australia, around the world. Shout out to my good buddy, everybody. I love you all. So you're all my buddies. Anyway, let's get to Nintendo Direct. How's it going?
Oh, you know how it's going, man. The Seahawks are playing the Packers, and the Packers are my most hated team in NFL history right now. So I'm trying not to be salty, but this is a Saltiest podcast. So if you hear me scream random cuss words, it's because I'm out here getting pissed at this game. So forgive me, but I'm glad to be here after missing last week.
Awesome.
Ready to get into these topics.
It's good to have you, man. Next up, we got the 49ers fan extraordinaire, Mustache Ride 69. How's it going?
Man, it is going good, man. As always, the Thursday, the clock ticks slow for 9 p.m. to get here. I wait for it all damn day. Work goes slow, get home. It's like just fucking watching molasses. It's terrible. But we're here. It's 9. I love talking game with you dudes. Welcome back, Nick. We missed you last week, man. So I heard we got a little something about some little Nintendo going on with a little hashtag.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But great to be here, man. Pumped, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, with Arizona, we don't really follow daylight savings time, but like technically when the time moves, like we move. So I'm used to going live for the Saltiest Gaming Podcast at like 6 my time, and now I got to wait for 7, so it's even longer. So that sucks, I got to wait longer to do this show, but we're here, we're live. Titan Drago, what's going on, man? How's it going?
What's up, everybody? Yeah, it's good to see another Vikings fan finally, and we got him on the show. It's so rare, anyways. But, yeah, man, I sent a DM to Salty in the group chat today, and it was from an awkward source about PlayStation, and
it's true.
And then more started popping up, so we're gonna talk about it today.
Yes, we will get into that subject. At first, it looked like suspect because of the source, and then all of a sudden, yeah, it's like I was like, "What site is this?" Some person created this online and then made this story. I was like, "Man, that's a good story. I don't know if it's true."
What
or
is
not.
footandballs.net?
Seriously. So we'll get into that juicy topic, but let's start off with the first topic of the night, shall we? The PlayStation Classic is getting underwhelming reviews from Eurogamer. They had a hands-on there, and they're basically saying, you know, there's nothing, you know, there's not a rewind feature, there's no power cord, there's lack of options, the games are kind of poor, and beyond the bare bones emulation, it sucks. They didn't say that, but I did. Okay. So the PlayStation Classic is an overall disappointment. We've talked about this before. And what compounds this problem is it just feels like a cash grab to me. And then what sucks about this news is we got some kind of, I don't know, disappointing news when it comes to the Nintendo 64 Classic, because that was, you know, supposedly on the horizon. I was getting pumped up, right? Getting that half chub going, and then, you know, boom. We get the bad news. So and apparently, you know, Reggie got word of this, and he said, you know, we're not doing that Nintendo 64 Classic for a while. Nick, what's the news with this situation here?
The news with the situation was Nintendo wasn't ready. They were going to give it a few times. I was talking to my boy Smash JT in my live show, and he kind of broke it down for me, saying that pretty much emulation for the Nintendo 64, Nintendo's not exactly ready for it. So they are taking some time to figure out the emulation whole situation that they got going on there, and then they'll proceed with it. And so pretty much Nintendo didn't have any plans. The reason why there was so much speculation is because of Target. Whenever you Google search N64 Classic, Target had an official ad saying Nintendo 64 Classic for sale, and then it immediately was taken down probably about an hour or a few hours later. So people thought, okay, maybe that was out on accident. So people were putting rumors that it was coming. The PS4, the PlayStation Classic, they were excited about that, and they're like, "Oh, well, it's got the 64 has to be coming, right?" And then Target ends up doing that, and come to find out, Target kind of just put that out there as sort of clickbait to market their sales for the Super NES Classic and the NES Classic, and so they were sort of just kind of clickbaiting, you know, that put the ad out there so people would click on it, oh, here's what I need to buy. You know, it's holiday, not very many parents know what they're looking for, so if they just type in whatever, they'll click and buy whatever. So that was kind of Target's ploy there. So Reggie comes out and says, "Hey, look, it's not coming. We're not ready. It's on the horizon, but it's not here." So that's the bad news here. I was really looking forward to this coming out because PS Classic was coming out, and I was looking forward to it being 1996 again. I was really looking forward to that. So
it's true. I mean, it's a stark contrast in between these, you know, the way these two companies handle their business when it comes to these classic systems. We all know about the NES and the Super NES classics, how well those did and how well received they were. Was it on the Super Nintendo that they even released a game that didn't even come out?
Yeah, they released Star Fox 2, which never came out in Japan. It only came out in Japan, so they specifically put it on there for the the West here, and it did well because of that.
Yeah, that's interesting in itself. Like, hey, we're going to give you a game that didn't even come out. Like, that's almost worth the purchase in itself. But this PlayStation Classic, man, the list of games is just, it's piss poor. We already know that. But when they talk, they had this, you know, hands-on, and they're saying, you know, it's just basically an emulator in a box. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not much going on there. It's barely pushing 720p. It just reaffirmed something that I knew, that this was a cash grab, and it just furthered my disappointment when that 64 news dropped. Welsh, what do you think, man? What do you think of this PlayStation Classic situation with Eurogamer and then the N64 news as well?
Well, with regards to the PlayStation 1 Classic, I mean, back when they announced it, and this is before like the news, you know, the reviews and people saying it's this, it's that, like I found it quite laughable. I just thought it's such a, like, well, you said it best, that the only word to describe this is cash grab, and obviously as time has progressed, it's proved to be it's proved to be the case more and more, because you can just tell they've put no time or passion behind it whatsoever. Like you know, with the Nintendo doing the SNES Classic and stuff like that, you can tell like a lot of time and patience went into those. And with like the Super Nintendo, the fact that they're taking their time, granted it's bad news in the sense like we're disappointed. Like I was only saying before we went live, like the Nintendo 64 Mini, I'll be grabbing one of them day one, 100%, especially if it's got a few bangers on there, like Pokemon Stadium and Mario and stuff like that. But like they're taking their time, they want it to be perfect, and when it comes out, it will be worth the wait, no doubt. The PlayStation 1 Classic, you know for a fact that they just saw an opportunity to get some quick money. They have the tools to give you a true backwards compatibility feature, but they choose not to, actively choose not to, just so they can charge you $100 for this garbage option for backwards compatibility. It's dreadful. So I'm not, to be honest, in a nutshell, I'm not even slightly surprised that it's falling short in the review front and people are saying it's garbage. You can tell that they literally just sat around a table, thought, what's a way we can trick our delusional fanboy followers into just purchasing something? And then they just went, yeah, I know what we'll do. We'll just put this box together out of like recycled cereal boxes and just chuck games on. So funny.
Do you know what it seems like? Since, let's be honest, if we're paying attention to Sony from afar, like you can tell that they don't really have much down the pipe right now. Like we don't know when we're getting Death Stranding, we don't know when we're getting any of the new games, and really Spider-Man's come and gone, and they don't really have anything down the pipe. And this just seems like something that they just threw out there because they don't have anything going on, and it was just like a last ditch effort. Hey, we don't have anything going on, we need something. PlayStation, here we go, PlayStation Classic. Let's get all the quick games we can quick and then throw it out there. That's just what it feels like and what it seems like they did with this. And yeah, man, like we know the list of games on there. It's just disappointing, man. Because like I said, I actually do like the PlayStation, like we all do, because we, growing up before Xbox, we had 64 and PlayStation. Who's played Tony Hawk, Tomb Raider, Parappa the Rapper, all those games that we played, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, none of those are on there. And it's just crazy to me, dude.
All right, so I just got to address something real quick. Face23BKNY said, laugh out loud, hell will freeze over the day I hear you talk positive about PlayStation. He was talking to me. So I talk about PlayStation in positive terms when they deserve it, but unfortunately, besides the gaming front, which has been very positive, which I've spoke positive about, I really want to play God of War, I want to play Spider-Man, Bloodborne, Horizon Zero Dawn, all those things. So that's all positive, right? Beyond that, there's been some situations, some issues with them being cocky in the place that they are. And, the services are suspect, and all this news about crossplay was suspect. And then, they put out this cash grab in the form of the PlayStation Classic, Mini. I tell it how it is, and I'm sorry if you think it's spun one way or another, but I can't, I'm telling you how it is when it comes to Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. If they do something I don't like, I'm going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about Fallout 76. If you heard me, a year ago, I was glowing about Bethesda. I said they're probably one of the better publishers out there, one of my favorite. And I've been shitting all over 76, man. You would think that I hate Bethesda, but that's beyond the point. I don't like what they're doing. So if there's good news about PlayStation, we'll talk about it. But unfortunately, there's some, negative stuff out there. And I think that we just need to get the word out there.
Yeah, it's not like we're going out of our way. They're just like feeding us this stuff. This is easy now. Difficult. And so, prove us wrong. Like, we're not saying anything that's not true. Find something that we're saying that is not true.
So a good example of this is like PlayStation Now, right? We said that not just us, right? Everybody was saying that the input lag was garbage, the service was garbage. And then once PlayStation decided to allow people to download some of their games, I said that was a good thing. There's good things coming. And when they actually agree to crossplay, that's good. But like I said before, once you get past the game front, which they have on lock, there's some holes in the cheese per se, right? In the boat, you're trying to sell it. There's some holes there. So they got to address some of these things when it comes to infrastructure, getting hacked, bricking consoles from messages, the shit poor infrastructure. I could go on and on, but like I said before, their first party lineup is amazing, but we'll continue forward. And Titan, what do you think of the situation with the Classic and the 64?
Well, I've now decided that before every topic, I'm just gonna shout out something random about the Vikings, like Stephon Diggs, and then
oh my God,
my man. Carry on.
yeah.
The 64 mini, it's gonna come. Like, you just gotta be patient. I texted Nintendo Direct earlier in the chat, and I said I think the biggest problem with it is gonna be the controllers, because those things. I mean, I don't know. Are they gonna make a mini version of those, or are they still gonna be the big honking?
They're gonna be huge, dog. They're still gonna be. They better be huge.
Yeah.
You don't make
They
them
give
things
you
small,
like
and they
mini
better be
controllers.
huge. Come on, man. They
That'd
didn't
be
make the Duke smaller. They better not be making the N64 controllers smaller. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, that would literally take away from the experience if they did make it smaller, wouldn't it? But like, those are going to be expensive, and you're going to need like 4 of them. So there's that, and like the controls are going to be and add up to probably be more than the system itself. So that's really weird. They're going to have to spin that some way, or at least take a hit on the controllers. And then the second thing was the durability on the controllers. We all remember, like the controllers we have nowadays, like the A button getting stuck, like that's small time. That's like Nintendo 64. Your junk was literally free roaming like 80% around. You remember that middle thing? It was like you'd get crust in there and junk, and it'd be free roam. Like, you don't know.
Crust.
You got
crust.
It was.
What the hell are you eating, dude? Like,
Titan did his crumbs in his 64, dude.
Oh, hell no.
fucking Dorito crumbs.
You guys got the crust in there, man. The white crust, because I don't even know
Wash
what it
your
was.
hands, damn it.
It wasn't me. It was the controller.
He's one of those friends. He's one of those friends you don't give your controller to because you get it back and it's all crumbed up.
Oh, hell.
Oh, you guys are killing me.
You need that grease controller, right? The one that can't get greasy.
You know the controllers are so jank.
Like, I need.
Hey, I'm gonna move on before you keep on making fun of me. But anyways, it's like, as far as the PlayStation Classic goes, it's like getting bad reviews. Yeah, as it should. Like if it's bad if PlayStation fans can't get on board with it. Like these are the people that have crushed every user score of every Xbox game there is. Like Fallout is at like a 1.2. You're talking about Fallout? It's at a 1.2 on Xbox compared to like a 2 point something on PlayStation. Like, explain that to me, PlayStation people. I don't get it.
The biggest thing is a lot of people say that Eurogamers kind of swayed towards PlayStation. Like, if they're shitting on the product, right, which I don't believe they are. I just think they kind of go with the flow. Whatever's popular for their channel, like what's going to get them clicks, they kind of go that route. And I've kind of been consistent with that. They shit on this. So, if you think that they're all about PlayStation, why would they do that? It's not in their best interest. So it is what it is, man. I don't think we need to hit on this subject much anymore.
So Shady said in the chat it was white powder.
Yeah. Just about right. So let's get on the next subject I was shitting on for a while. I've been making memes. I'm like addicted to it. I have this meme generator, and I've just been popping these Fallout 76 memes out on my Instagram. Yeah, follow me on Instagram, www.instagram.com, Saltiest Gaming. Shameless plug there. So you can get some killer memes there. So I was putting those out, and Fallout 76. I've been beating this drum for a while. I've been getting a lot of slack from Bethesda fanboys. Once the news started coming out about this game, it got less and less. My excitement that it was building up at E3 just kind of fell off a cliff, right? It's like the Price is Right, that little game where the yodel man's going up the platform and he just falls off the side and you lose. That's kind of how it happened with this Fallout 76 business for me. Too many things just came out about this game that just preached cash grab for me, and I'm just disappointed in general in Bethesda's approach to this game, because they're talking about, hey, we're gonna support this game for the forever. We're gonna keep adding to this game for the foreseeable future. Well, the problem with that is you built it on a shit engine, right? The engine you could see this engine back in the 360 days, right? It's called the Creation Engine. And it's one of the biggest issues with this game. You got screen tearing. You don't even have a field of view slider on the PC because their excuse with that is if we put a field of view slider in there, it causes screen tearing and all this other shit. I'm like, come on, guys, get your shit together. Don't push the product out just to make a buck. And that's the biggest problem with the industry right now, because they know that their fans and even beyond the fans are going to just be like, oh, it's just Bethesda. It's buggy. We'll accept the bullshit. It's just Bethesda. It's buggy. How many times have we heard that, guys? Like, it's just Bethesda. It's buggy. It's okay, right? But we're moving into 2019. We're moving into the next generation, and they're still going to be using the same engine that was on a 360 game. It's unacceptable, in my opinion. What do you guys think about this situation with Fallout 76 specifically? I'll let you defend it if you want to, Titan Trago, and then let's talk about the fact that this engine might still be on Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6.
That's the most disappointing news, but you go ahead, Titan.
Titan.
Well, I'm gonna let you guys slam it first, and then I'll.
Okay.
You're not saving it, dog.
There's no bringing it back.
Chat, what do you guys think of Fallout 76? Did you buy the game? I know there's some people out there that did. I know there's some people that are enjoying it, but I think for the most part, a lot of people are disappointed, man. The reviews are coming in and they are bleak. Nintendo, what do you think, man?
Look, I'm already over Fallout 76. I've watched people play it. I watched my buddy, your player 2, play it. The game looked decent, but then I'm like, yo, you're still playing that bad engine. You could tell it was the old engine and stuff. And so the most disappointing news to me, though, is the news that their future 2 bangers that they're really going to be pushing, Starfield and Elder Scrolls, is going to use the same engine. It's like, yo, at some point you got to let this thing go, improve on it, do what you got to do, right? Like, I get that the engine's been working and it's worked for the majority of your popular games, but you got to let it go. And that's just my take on it. Like, forget Fallout 76. Okay, you did that. That's gone. That's come. It's here. That's already been done. But if you're telling me that your future games are going to have this engine, that's not good to me, especially since we're moving on to the next gen here soon.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird practice in the gaming industry that I don't want to see continue. And the number one blowback from fans, I guess, of Bethesda is they call out Call of Duty. Oh, Call of Duty is using that same broke engine, blah, blah, blah. And people are still buying it. You're playing it, Salty. You're playing Black Ops 4. You're the problem, not me. And it's just like, well, when I look at Black Ops 4, I see marked improvements in the animations and the things that are going on. I'm not seeing screen tears. I'm seeing consistent frame rates. So the amount of improvements that they're making on that engine are noticeable. When I look at Fallout 76, it's very difficult for me to differentiate what's going on in that game as opposed to Fallout 4. And it doesn't seem like they're making too many vast improvements with the engine. It's super old and it looks dated to me. Welsh, what do you think, man?
I got to be honest, based on what you're telling me, as I'll throw this out there right here, right now. I'm not a huge follower of Fallout. I do love Bethesda's work. I'm a big fan of the Elder Scrolls series. But as for Fallout, I'm a very tepid, I've never really been one to follow it. But nevertheless, I obviously saw it at E3. I've seen the odd bit of gameplay. It was at EGX as well, which I was at September just gone. So I have seen it. And based on what you're telling me, like obviously the beta being out and stuff, I mean, it just sounds lazy. Like I please, say Welsh, you're out of line here. But from what you're telling me, it just sounds like, and it's more surprising for me to say it. And I never thought I'd ever put Bethesda and lazy in the same sentence, but it really does sound like laziness to me. And you mentioned Call of Duty before I could speak, but it brings Call of Duty to mind. I mean, okay, people can say like yourself, Salty, like Black Ops this, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, they've improved this, they've improved that. Fair enough. You've played it, I haven't, so I'll take your word for it. But still, It's the same argument I've made about Call of Duty for going on a decade plus now. Like how they can charge you full price and bring out a new game every year, blah blah blah, and they're still using the same freaking engine from Call of Duty Finest Hour on the PS1. It's crazy. Honestly, man, it's like, and now I'm hearing Bethesda are trying to squeeze the same orange. Like, what the fuck? I mean, blows my mind, man. For the record, am I allowed to swear on this show?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh,
Do
fucking
it.
right.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Stop it. Stop it.
Everybody
right now.
but you,
Kids
sir, is
watch
allowed to
this.
curse.
Guess what?
No,
We're on at like 9 o'clock Eastern, dude. I mean, people will watch it on the replay, but it is what it is, man. As long as we're not sellers, every other word, man. I mean, it is what it is. We try to keep it real here, but keep going, man.
No, mate, honestly, I just can't believe after everything I just said, Call of Duty in the mix. I can't believe I'm actually hearing like this. Like I said, I never thought I'd be using the word lazy and Bethesda in the same sentence, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, and honestly, like I said, if you go back to videos that I made or even conversations that I had on other podcasts, I remember clear as day E3, right? Reviews or even me watching their conferences. I don't think I did Bethesda's live reaction. I have to go look. But I think I did. But I was like, man, dude, I'm impressed. Bethesda stepping their game up. Every game they put out this gen, I've liked. Doom, Wolfenstein, you know, their commercial that they came out with. Todd Howard. I love Todd Howard. I was singing their praise, man. You would think that I was a fanboy, but then you look at the comment section of my video I made. Oh my God, this guy hates Bethesda, man. He's a hater, blah, blah, blah. He just hates. And it's just like, come on, guys. I don't want to see this continue in any game. I don't want Call of Duty to use the same old engine. You know, I want them to make a new engine. Hell, 343 and Microsoft determined that they needed to make a new engine for Halo. And I didn't even think the Halo engine looked dated to me, but they determined that that's something they needed to do. So why can't Bethesda do it? Like, why can't Call of Duty do it?
It's all about progression, right? Like you want to see things progressively get better. And I mean, and this kind of brings up the argument that because you were on my podcast this Sunday and we were talking about the Nintendo Switch Online and like you were saying like, look, it has to get better. It can't just be the same way. Same thing goes for this gaming engine and the gaming in general. It has to get better. You can't just keep putting out the same old thing and then expect it to be the same. Like we have better graphics, we have better hardware for you to utilize it. You know what I mean? You can't just keep putting out the same old engine and thinking it's going to work. Like you got to change and you got to progress. And I mean, and that's how I look at it. You just, at some point you need to.
Yeah, you know what it really comes down to is I think that they don't want to take the time that it takes to make the engine. Like Call of Duty specifically, they keep popping out games like it's candy, right? And then this Fallout 76 situation, I'm sure that with the Fallout 4 success, they're like, man, we really want to do an online game. We could wait, or we could just get started on this shit with the engine we have, right? Because it takes time to go and make the engine. It takes resources, and you can't just put a game out until you have the engine. So you got to make the engine, then you got to make the game, right?
I will say this much though: Call of Duty's situation is a little bit different because Activision's making them pump out a new game every year between 3 different studios. Bethesda,
there's 3 different.
Bethesda owns their own stuff, like so. When it comes to Call of Duty, yeah, they use the same engine, but that's 3 different studios and they're working on a game every 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But
with their money, they can make a team create a new engine.
Right. But with Bethesda, you know, they're by themselves. Like they don't really have that. And how long have they been using this engine? Since I don't know, Skyrim? Like, come on.
Yeah. I don't know, man. They're having issues where they had to like lock the frame rate on PC because people were exploiting it. So they're just like, we're going to lock the frame rate at like 63 frames per second. It doesn't matter if your PC could do better than that. That's how we're going to resolve this issue. It's just like there's cracks and kinks and rips and tears in the foundation of this engine. And then we hear that's going to be on Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. I was hyped when they announced those games, man. I'm a Star Wars fan. I love sci-fi. Mm-hmm. And the thought of having Starfield made by Bethesda blew my mind. But if you put this on this dog shit engine, I don't know, man. My excitement levels just dropped through the.
I was expecting
floor,
Starfield to be like Star Citizen, dog. Like,
yeah.
And now it's not. Apparently, if they're going to use that same engine, and it's just disappointing because that was the one game. Like Elder Scrolls, okay, cool. It's Elder Scrolls, Fallout, okay. This new game that you're working on is supposed to be unlike anything you've ever done, but then it's going to be like everything you've ever done because you're using the same game engine. Like, it's just kind of disappointing.
Can I play devil's advocate a second?
Sure, do it.
Right, I basically painted this picture of laziness and said that like Bethesda this, Bethesda that, even roped in Call of Duty, money grabbing bastards, but you know how it is. Keep it flipping. But no, playing like devil's advocate to some extent. I mean, like, I do believe in the phrase, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Okay. But alluding to what you guys are saying, it really sounds like something is breaking. It might be a little bit here, a little bit there. And like you said, Salty, there's tears and cracks in the foundations. At this point, it sounds like, from what you guys are telling me, that, like, you know, like you said, like they're trying to stop a burst pipe with sellotape. You know, it's like, and they're already announcing games for the future with this already showing signs of breaking engine. It just gets to a point where, you know, people, the word lazy is subjective. I used it personally, but I could be wrong in saying that. But whatever the case, it gets to a point where if there's, you know, telltale signs of problems occurring now, and you've got plans for future games with the same like engine, I think you've got to pull it back, man. I think you've got to do something about it. Like you've got to take responsibility, because like you can't be announcing games that you're going to be working on for the future consoles, future hardware, all these new and when you've already got like a subpar engine. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense. It's
you are. You are.
It's just, I just find it crazy. It's like if it was working, like what I'm saying by devil's advocate is, if the engine itself was in full working order, there was no signs. If you were just some casual Joe Blogs down the road, you knew nothing about what goes on behind the scenes, and you could not even picture or see when you're playing Fallout 76 any obvious issues, it doesn't matter to you, it's not affecting you, then why the hell not? If you want to use an old engine, crack on. As much as I think that's still lazy. But the fact that it's showing signs of being broken, they need to do something about it.
I got a few things to say about this. Mike Zimmer. Anyways, the game Fallout 76, I mean, seems all right. I got about 5 hours into it or whatever. It just seems very buggy. It's not as empty as I thought it would be. I've run into other players quite often, and I think it's because that's like kind of the story thing. It's how you throw it. How they throw you into the story. So that may lessen as time goes on. But even though I'm playing by myself, because everyone else ditched me and turned in their pre-orders.
Bethesda issue. Sorry, dog.
But I mean, it is Fallout with other players. So if you like Fallout, you're gonna at least like this game somewhat, you know. But the problem is with the bugs. Like I said, I'm 5 hours in, and I'm still kind of like in the interlude, you know. I'm still kind of in that, like it's still teaching me somewhat on different areas of the game. However, the positives really end there. And it's like, yes, bugs made the positive list. So that tells you how bad it is, right? Like, I made a tweet and I said that the frame rate is as bad as most GIFs on your phones. Like, that's like the biggest killer for me, is the terrible frame rate. Like, it's constantly just like, if I'm bitching about frame rate, it's bad, okay? It's like PUBG. It's like worse than PUBG, okay? Imagine PUBG slightly worse, okay? It's on that level. But, you know, Welsh calls it lazy, and I'm going to choose to call it inexperience, because it's like when you play this game, you can tell it's their first attempt at a multiplayer game. There's those problems that usually aren't there in their single player game, you know, the screen tear, the frame rate, and like other like image loading issues like crazy. Like I was walking into this one building and like junk's just appearing and disappearing. Like, what the hell's going on?
Hey, it's just Bethesda. It's okay. It's okay.
Like that part is really bad, and yeah, I was gonna say this before the game came out, but the thought of nukes in the game kind of swayed me from saying it. Okay, and what I was gonna say is that because they said they were going to give the players the tools and like have them go without, have them have at it, right? Well, the idea of that is all nice, but it doesn't work well. Like players don't seem to really grab hold of that idea when they're playing games. Like, because name one other popular game that has the same goal is Sea of Thieves. Ouch.
What the hell is that?
It sounded like a cartoon character slamming into a pole.
That was me breaking my knuckles against this stupid boom stand, dude.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
You talk about these Clank.
Oh my god. I just had this image of you running into like a metal bin.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that hurt, dude. That really did hurt.
Dude, it sounded so clear, dude.
Yeah, seriously. Like, clear as day. Boom. So anyway, Titan.
Anyway, my final statement was like games like that go like this route that like they give the players the tools, like they naturally get hate. And it's like Sea of Thieves got hate. This game's getting all kinds of hate for different reasons, for more reasons. But I'm not sure if you guys noticed that, but it's true. So what do you guys think?
I mean, taking a step back, like I can see why Sea of Thieves got hate because let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there that enjoy the game, but the content was lacking severely, man. They've added to that, and that's the games as a service thing, but I don't think that that's an excuse like, hey, it's in Game Pass and they've added all this content. Well, why wasn't the content there to begin with? And that's the same thing with Fallout 76. I feel like Fallout 76 is like a Sea of Thieves reborn, but like with bugs galore. You know what I'm saying? At least Sea of Thieves wasn't buggy, right?
A lot of similarities, yeah.
It's just a huge, massive open world, not a lot of end game to speak of, no real story, not real interactions with NPCs. You make your own fun, all this stuff, right? Does it sound familiar? I was going to do a video on this, which would be a perfect video. And right now, I just don't think these type of games are going to score well and it's going to be well in the popular opinion because like this thing's getting raked over the coals when it comes to the reviews, man. And part of that has to do with the engine and the performance, and part of that has to do with just it just kind of is back asswards. Like, what is the point of this game? You have to, you know, you can come across other people in the wild, but you have to interact and accept PvP interactions. You can nuke people when you come out. You come out and you're supposed to rebuild the world, but then you can nuke other civil, colonies. It's weird to me, man.
And the building, like when you build in this game, like your little area to build in is like really small. It's like frustratingly small. It's like you got to have like multi-layers and stuff. And like I was watching these like super mutants like just destroy this one guy's base. I don't know where the dude was, but they just destroyed his base. He's gonna come back to like shambles.
So you can destroy other people's bases without them being there, but you can't kill them in the wild. Is that how it works?
I didn't try to do that personally. I saw, but I was watching super mutants because I was fighting them and I was using his base as cover, but in his base.
So one of the most frustrating things about Ark Survival Evolved, when I was in public servers, what people would do is if you're in a PvE server, which is similar to Fallout 76, right? You can't really kill people unless they want you to. What they'll do is they'll lead rock golems back to your base, and you could just spend days and days and days and days and days working on your stuff, and then it gets destroyed by a creature that they bring through because they want to troll, right? So if that's the issue in this game, it makes me hate it even more. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, you can't do traditional PvP interactions, but yet you can leave shit to people's bases and destroy their hard work. Where is the fun in that? Like, that just seems really counterproductive, because if you're spending all this time building up this community in this base and some, 5-year-old troll or 10-year-old troll comes along, he's like, he leads a super mutant to your shit and blows it up, right? And you come back, how happy are you going to be? Hours and hours of spent to make this is just gone. You know what I'm saying?
There's one more huge flaw too. You know how they said you could pick up your base and move it anywhere, right? Well, the terrain in this game, literally, you cannot find a 20 by 20 like clearing of flat land. It's like trees, logs, like up and down, like hills and stuff. Like I tried moving my base from one spot to another, and I only had, you know, like 7 floorboards placed and a couple walls. I tried moving that, and I was trying for a good 15 minutes. Couldn't do it. It just won't let you, because something is always, you can't clear the area, and something's always in the way. It was ridiculous.
Man, it sounds like it has even more problems than I even gave the game, and I've been just shitting on it. So this game has a lot of issues, and I know there's some, you know, apologists out there, aka Mooch. Shout out to him. He's still trying to get his crew together, and he got the game for free. Me and him had a good back and forth on Xbox Nation about this game, but I still stand firm. And one of my, you know, my opinion is this game was rushed. It's a cash grab. It's built on an engine that's old, blah, blah, blah. And all this other shit, you know, will probably get fixed, whatever can be fixed, and they'll add content. But that still doesn't change my opinion on the game. So, Punk, what do you think, man? You're not a real big Fallout dude.
I'm not a Fallout Bethesda guy. Like, pretty much Bethesda got the hatchet for me when I picked up Brink on the 360. You know, I was right there. It was just a done deal, dude. Like, none of their games intrigue me, dude. Like, nothing. I mean, like, Wolfenstein looks cool. That's all fine and good, but I mean, nothing else. Like Doom, all that stuff. You call me a fraud all you want. Like, it's just, in the words of Mooch, it's not my bag. Dude. Like, I could care less about these games. They have zero interest for me.
Yeah, I feel you, man. So if you guys have bought the game and you guys kind of have some buyer's remorse, let us know. If you like the game, let us know why you like it. We'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear some people that actually like the game and feel like they're getting their money's worth out of it. Let's talk about another game that's technically out, technically not out, Battlefield 5. EA is kind of doing this model where if you buy the deluxe edition, or you have EA access, or you have this and that, you can play it 6 days early or 7 days early. At this point, I don't even know when games are coming out, because, you know, people are playing them already and the game's not technically out. I'm like, did that game come out or did it not come out? Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, you have to like get the deluxe edition to get the game early, or if you have a subscription, you get it even earlier. It's like crazy right now, man. Anybody pick up Battlefield 5? I don't think any of you guys did, right?
No, just EA access.
Okay. Chat, did you guys pick up Battlefield 5? I've been hearing that the campaign sucks. It's short. It's thrown together. So that whole argument about the campaign kind of setting it apart from Blackout, you know, Black Ops is kind of null and void right now, because everybody was saying, oh, Black Ops, I'm gonna, you know, boycott this game. They're throwing the campaign out. That's the most important part. And then, you know, Mooch and I have been talking about this. Some other people have been saying this, that the campaigns in Battlefield have traditionally sucked for the most part. So would you rather get a half-assed campaign that's thrown together and it's short, or would you rather have your company focus on multiplayer, get you a really good multiplayer, get you a banger battle royale game like Blackout? That's the real question. So I pose that to you, chat. What do you think of this situation? Have you played Battlefield 5? Do you own it? What do you think? I heard the multiplayer is fun. I've watched lots of video on it. It kind of reminds me a lot of Battlefield 1. I'm not going to lie. The scenery, the guns, the iron sights. I actually won a copy last night on this lady's stream. I won, and then I was fumbling around trying to claim my prize. It was Battlefield 5 Deluxe, and apparently I only had 20 seconds to claim it. I closed the window out on accident, got back in. I claimed my prize. She's like, it's too late. I was like, great.
Oh,
Bitch.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I called myself Bad Luck Brian that night, but yeah, I guess $80 on the drain. I probably wouldn't have played it that much anyway, so it is what it is. What do you guys think? What have you heard about Battlefield since you guys don't own it?
Well, I'll start if you guys don't mind. Just by saying my only experience with Battlefield 5 specifically is the beta, which I had a lot of fun on. I thought it was very, very good. You are right though in saying that it has a heavy amount of similarities with Battlefield 1, despite like the animations and the graphics and like overall like just being a step above graphically. Like on the Xbox One X, it it was a visual marvel. It was it was beautiful. I got to give it credit where credit's due. It was very, very eye catching. But at the same time, I'll throw this out there. It could have quite easily have just been like a DLC for Battlefield 1. Like, you know, I can't help but argue that case. Like, it doesn't seem to warrant the full price tag for me. Especially having heard you guys saying that apparently the campaign's this, campaign's that. Like, for me, when it comes to Battlefield, answering your question before, Salty, for me personally, as a multiplayer, like more, you know, I'm more multiplayer than I am single player when it comes to my games. I think I'd have preferred either an expansion pack for Battlefield 1 for, like, you know, a small fee, like $10 or less or whatever, or just you know, Battlefield 5 multiplayer only for half the price. Like,
Heck yeah.
I would have been all for that. I'd have probably bought it by now. I know I got EA access, so I'm probably due a free trial, a 10-hour trial, which I'll definitely play. But it's a great game. Can't knock it. I give it a high rating for fun factor in my small experience on the beta. But yeah, I mean, it's, if we're talking price and warranted and stuff like that, it's questionable. There's a few things that I can. But,
Exhausted Father says, I prefer a more modern day shooter opposed to World War II shooter. It looks amazing. I keep playing Blackout and Red Dead. I'll wait for a sell. The indie gamer says, I played Battlefield 5, played the first war story and some multiplayer. I think it's a great game. The single player is lacking, but multiplayer is awesome. Amazing maps, great gunplay, and it feels great to play.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta agree with him as far, like I said, I played 2 Conquest matches myself on the trial, and something with the mechanics, it does feel different. Like, sniping has always been more difficult in a Battlefield compared to a Call of Duty. Yeah. But like, something, whether it be the hit detection or whatever little mechanics that they tweak, like it does realistically feel better than Battlefield 1 overall. So I don't know what they did. They clearly didn't change the engine or anything, but they did something in it. It feels good, you know. I can't knock that.
Yeah, I remember playing the beta with Titan, and I did have fun. I'm not going to lie, but it's like, how long can I have fun in that game? Does it warrant a full price? And what Welsh was saying makes sense for the customer, but it doesn't make sense for EA, right? They want you to spend the full 60. Hell, they want you to spend $80 to $100. They want you to get that deluxe edition, which I won, but I didn't get. I'm still fucking salty, guys.
He's salty about a game he doesn't even want to play.
Seriously, dude. I probably wouldn't have played it that much, but like, imagine.
Yeah,
you hear your name, you're like, oh, Saltiest Gaming, blah, 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 claim your prize. And then you're like fumbling around, you close the fucking window out. Like, I claim exclamation point. Oh, man, it's past the window, man. I'm sorry. Oh, great. Cool story.
I'm not going to lie, Salty. I honestly think I'd have broke out the tissues on that one.
Oh, my God.
Even if it was a game I didn't like, just to have victory in one hand for like a few seconds and let it slip through your fingers.
My question is, who the hell runs 20-second? Like, you better be quick as shit.
Like,
you know?
No, like, honestly, like, I was telling her, and then I guess she did another giveaway. It was based off of like that new system they have. I don't know what it's called, but you get like certain amount of like money for watching. It's not real money. Give it to them via stickers. Anyway, she was running a thing where she gets a certain amount, she'll give another way. She gave another way, and then she gave them 30 seconds to claim their shit. I was like, well, great. I was like, I got 20 seconds.
Damn, at least give you a 5-minute window. Shit.
She must be more of a pepper girl. She must like pepper on her food. Something. Like, if she saw salt and thought, "Fuck this guy," I'm deducted in 10 seconds.
Yeah. All the chat was giving it to me. They're like, "Well, I bet you're salty, huh?" Salty. I was like, "Yeah, fuck you. I'm salty."
Because I was watching reruns of WKRP in Cincinnati. Shows you my age. But anyways, on that show, they rigged their giveaway. It was like, so they played like 6 songs like so close back to back with each other, like you couldn't make it out or whatever. Someone won anyways, but because it wouldn't be a TV show if someone didn't win. But anyways, it reminded me of that, man. It's like, you got 20 seconds, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
2 seconds. It's up. You didn't claim it. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, Battlefield 5's interesting, man. I'll probably play it via EA Access. I don't know, maybe pick it up on the cheap when it comes out with the BR, because March is going to be kind of, I think once you get past March and then you get into April, May, that's going to be kind of a down period. Maybe, try to play a new multiplayer game. That might be a good time to start playing that. So yeah, it's kind of mixed reviews there. I don't think it's going to do too well when it comes to sales. Like, I looked at my friends list, and I know the game's not technically out yet, but I think I only saw one person playing it. So it's kind of proof in the pudding there. I don't think it's going to do too well, and I think EA kind of expected that. So we'll see what happens going forward. But let's talk about XO18. I want to get your guys' thoughts. XO18 happened. I was telling people that they're going to get disappointed. Like, that's just the way gamers are. They're hard to please. But the way we're hyping this shit up, I knew that it never was going to reach expectations. I was saying, Microsoft could say that they're, acquiring EA, and people would bitch that EA is, anti-consumer, and screw Microsoft for doing that. Something crazy like that, right? But it was a 2-hour show. It was, majority of it was just the Crackdown 3 trailer, which was amazing. And then it was Game Pass. Like, it was one big Game Pass commercial, let's be honest. And then they announced the acquisition of 2 studios, In Exile and Obsidian, which we already knew. I think overall it was a good Inside Xbox episode. It was a horrible XO event, which I think that they shouldn't even called it an XO event, because it wasn't that. I think it was just a glorified Inside Xbox event. They wanted to, hold in Mexico to have an event for the fans, because not everybody can go to E3. They called it the wrong thing, made expectations skyrocket for fans, and this led to disappointment. Welch, I know that you have kind of an interesting take on this whole situation. What do you think of the XO event in general?
I've been calling it the night of missed opportunities, because I felt misled. I got to be honest. Like, I like to think that with anything whatsoever, I like to keep my expectations in check. But when there's smoke, there's fire. A lot of things were pointing towards like big, bold announcements. XO as an entity is home to some of the biggest announcements in Xbox's history. Halo 2, Gears of War on the 360 as a launch title. This XO event is no stranger to E3 level announcements, and I just thought, I just kept telling myself that this is what I mean. Every time I was like, "Yo, Welsh, keep your expectations to a nice level, dude. Don't get too ahead." I'd slap myself in the face, look myself dead in the eye in the mirror, and go, "No, there's no way they bring back XO unless they had something to show, worth showing." And I just kept telling myself that. I was like, it's going to be lit, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And then you had like Phil and team coming out saying first party are going to lead the way, third party's going to be there in a big way, expect huge announcements. The opening credits, you had bloody that blonde woman with the lip ring saying, "Wait till the end, Matt Booty's going to unveil some huge announcements, blah, blah, blah." And I was just like, my God, like I was wet for it, mate. I was literally like, oh my God, like I was so excited. Like, I mean, I'd say I was just as excited as I was for E3 when E3 was starting. It was lit for me. I was like, this is going to be it. We're going to hear more on the Gears tactics, maybe coming with keyboard and mouse. We're going to maybe see another trailer for Gears 5. Maybe hopefully something Halo Infinite. I want to know what the Initiative are working on, what Ninja Theory are working on. Maybe a Fable. I was throwing loads in the air. I was like, just one of those things will do. And in the end, you said it best, Salty. All we got was a 2-hour Game Pass commercial with an announcement of a studio that we already knew was coming. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. Going into this, yes, my expectations evidently were a bit too high, but I went into this saying they need to show us something that we don't know about. We need to see something from the devs that we know are acquired. I don't want to. I said it. I don't want to hear about new acquisitions. I don't want to be hearing this, hearing that. I want to know what initiative we're working on, what Ninja Theory are working on. Give us a tease. Anything will do.
All right, I got a huge problem with what you're saying, my fellow Viking fan. I got a huge problem with your opinion.
Mate, that's fine. I'll let you take the floor. I'm pretty black and white with this stuff, man. I went in with a certain expectation based on feeling, in the end, I just felt misled. I truly expected at least one or two big announcements, and I didn't feel like I got one. So go on, Titan.
I'll say, well, we could go back and forth with it. Feel free to stop me if you got something to say. But like two studio acquisitions alone is bigger than I think people realize, because people get excited for when a game gets announced, right? Well, these studios aren't just going to release one game. These are Xbox studios. These games are going to come into Game Pass when they make them. That's so huge. I mean, to me, that just excites me like crazy. And they're going to make multiple games, like studios is the biggest, I think, like news you can get right now. And you're not the only one. Like, I've seen a lot of bitching, griping, complaining on Twitter about XO. And to me, it seems like if you had a problem with the show, if you had certain expectations or whatever, and it didn't meet them, I feel it's strictly like a you problem, because whether you want to hear it or not, and I've heard people say they didn't need they didn't need a conference from this. Many people have said this, but I disagree, because a lot of information was given to us. Like, granted, it was mainly Game Pass, but also the mouse and keyboard. Like, I wanted to hear about mouse and keyboard. I felt like I got that. Like, the game supporting mouse and keyboard, the two new studios. And to me, it's like, what's wrong with that? And the answer to me is nothing. Because
Titan, my friend.
No, go ahead.
Right? You are completely correct. And I'm not preaching my opinion. It is a me problem. I'll hold my hand up now. I let my expectations get the better of me. I wish I'd kept. Usually, like I said, I keep my expectations in check. But writing on the wall, XO as an event in history in the years past, and all the things that were tweeted out, I let my inner child outgrow my inner adult. I went in with a different mindset, and I really shouldn't have. So I agree with you. It is a me problem. And I will say this as well. I'll give it straight back to you. Like, I'm not saying that those studio acquisitions revealed at the end was a bad thing. I'm not saying it was a bad thing whatsoever. But when I already knew at least one of those out of those two, and obviously Ninja Theory, Playground Games, and the Initiative are three massive studios that I already knew about as well, because of E3. I was just expecting XO to be a platform, hence why the fuck have they brought it back? For them to just throw a few news bombs at us, like, yo, this is what the Initiative is working on. This is what when I was thinking of Matt.
I may have a potential answer for you for that.
Yep. Nope. By all means, I'll give it straight back to you.
All right. So you said, you let the inner child get the better of you, but like, to me, it's like, I almost felt the same thing. I had pretty high expectations, but the difference is I felt like mine were met because I feel like you guys are giving the studio acquisitions not enough props as they deserve. But excuse me. But to those that think that it was too centered around Game Pass, like they were stroking it off. Well, guess what? I say good. I say good because Game Pass is an absurdly good value. It's gotten me off more than once, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So, Game Pass deserves a reach around, in my opinion. It really does. It deserves a night on the town, dinner, wine, light, and the whole shebang. Give it.
I think. Hey, obviously, Game Pass is the focal point for Microsoft going forward. I think people, underestimate how important this is for the company going forward. I think, honestly, if the Game Pass situation didn't arise in the company, I'm not sure that Microsoft would have stayed in the console game. That's an unpopular opinion, but the way things were 3 years ago with the cancellations, the funds, the games, everything else, gaming just didn't seem like a focal point at Microsoft. And I think that that's actually been proven because, they're like, now it's a focal point. Well, it's like, well, why wasn't it a focal point 2 or 3 years ago? Like, what's going on here? But now you're seeing the high investments, super high investments. It's like, how much did it cost to acquire Rare? A couple $100 million or something like that back in the day.
Yeah.
Imagine how much it costs to acquire all these new studios and pay for the buildings and the teams and give them the ability to create whatever they want to create. Microsoft's not just opening their pocketbook for the hell of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, personally, it just screams, we're going all in. We're pushing all of our chips into the table for Xbox Game Pass. This is our baby going forward into the future. This is what's going to be making us all the money. And this is what the future of gaming is. So that's why they're doing what they're doing, So that's why they had this event. It's not because, hey, we want to announce Obsidian in Exile. They call it XO. They shouldn't have called it XO. So specifically, this was for Crackdown 3 and Game Pass. That's it. They wanted to show Crackdown 3 to get kind of that negative stigma off. Got
that right.
You know what I'm saying? It had that stink about it. So they had to get the Febreze out and spray it out there and get that stank out of there. So that Crackdown stank. So, and which they did. What were you saying, Titan?
Well, I was saying, here's another thing is like, because they don't market the shit properly. We all know Xbox marketing team is god awful. It's like they need Game Pass. I feel like Game Pass is like, it's like that hot girl that got homeschooled her whole life, and like XO finally brought her to public school. I mean, for more people to join, but it's like, don't hold your breath from the Microsoft marketing team to put it out there to everybody. You can't do that.
Nick,
to me, XO killed like so many birds with one stone. It really did. Like,
outside looking in at this point, you're representing the Nintendo crowd and other stuff. How was it for you? I know you didn't watch the whole thing, but
I watched the whole thing. My expectations were tempered whenever Playground Games came out and said, "Hey, we're not announcing Fable or anything for a while." So I was like, well, I'm out of that one, boys. I'm not going to be too excited about any announcements they have. So I kind of stepped back and got to watch it from afar. I thought they did all right. I thought they did good. They did what they needed to do. Like you said, they showed Crackdown. We all know that about what was going on with Crackdown as far as they kept delaying it, and that was becoming a joke. And so they actually showed that game, and it actually looked decent. The destruction looked great. So they killed that one. They announced two more studios.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, everybody wants to knock on them. Well, they don't have any games, and now you're going to have games coming in the future. They're working on that, so you can no longer talk trash about that. And then Game Pass, which, by the way, you can hate on Game Pass all you want, but what you can't do is deny the value that Game Pass is, and they just hit you with a bunch of value in the Game Pass. So, and Game Pass makes me jealous. Honestly, I wish Nintendo would do something similar. I think they could learn from Microsoft in this way with NSO. They're not. And so right now, Xbox right now, they're being really sneaky about what they're doing right now, and just be on the lookout for them in the next generation, because with Game Pass, with these new studios that they're coming out, they're going to have a monster on the hand if these studios deliver on games. If they deliver on games and you have in Game Pass, it's done. It's over with.
Nick,
with all the talent they're going to deliver. Like, look at all the talent they got. Just like even take the initiative out of the picture. Like, it's crazy. And could you imagine getting a quadruple A title from the initiative, like in Game Pass day and date? Like, that's going to be so amazing, man. That day
like what I was saying, me and Mooch had me and Mooch go back and forth. I mean, it's a sight to see, man. It's like we're in the ring, boom, boom, boom. We're still friends, right? People are like, man, they must hate each other. But honestly, I love debating. Mooch loves debating. We go back and forth, and we talked about this. He's talking about Game Pass and this and that, and how the marketing's been poor for it. My counter argument for that is, like, maybe they're waiting for one of their bangers for to go hard about it. Yeah, go hard about that sounded weird, right? But they're going to go hard for Game Pass to market it. When imagine Halo Infinite dropping day and date in Game Pass.
It will.
boom, you know, which it is going to do. Ori, the new Ori is going to be in there. The new Gears, like they have a chance to say, hey, they advertise Gears, right? They do their advertisements for that. And they say, play this day and date in Game Pass. Like they just need these titles. And then plus the collection that they have now, they announced PUBG is going in there, which is, you know, a good
I have a quick question. All right, is Game Pass available for Windows 10 or is it just exclusive to Xbox?
It's supposed to be coming to PC.
I was going to say it is going over.
Okay, because once that goes to PC, then they got a monster on their hands. Because yeah, it's one thing to have it on Xbox and people make excuses. I don't want to buy the extra bit of hardware to play the Halos and the Gears. But you bring that to PC, and people with PCs have no excuse whatsoever. It will be a monster if it does come to PC.
So Shady says it's coming to Windows 10 soon.
Yeah,
what they're trying to
be a monster when it does.
They're trying to prepare people, right? The old guard, because it's a touchy subject when you say, oh, Halo is going to go to PC or Gears is going to go to PC, or, you know, some of the flagship titles are going to go to PC. But if you look at it, they've been trying to let people down slowly, per se, the old guard, the elitists that say that I should have exclusives and you shouldn't, this shouldn't be on PC. This should be only on my console or it's not an exclusive. They don't give a shit about that.
No, they don't.
They started with Play Anywhere. They've showed signs of what they're doing. They're allowing their games to go to Steam. They're allowing, you know, they're doing the whole Sunset Overdrive. That's going to PC. That was one of the first games, you know, before they did any of this Play Anywhere shit. So what they're trying to do is everything's going to be, you know, it's interchangeable. And I said this on your podcast, Nick. I don't give a shit if it's on Xbox or it's on Nintendo or PlayStation. I just want to play it, right? If they said, if Xbox came out and said, hey, we're dropping Game Pass on the Switch tomorrow, I would give two shits about it, right? I'd be good for Nintendo, right? Good for Nintendo. They get to play. They can't, obviously the hardware's not there for it.
No.
But I'm not one of these people that say I'm an elitist. I have Halo on Xbox and you don't, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Shove it up your ass. Console wars. I don't care, right?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. As long as I can play it, I couldn't care less where about me.
That sentiment has been told to me by my buddy Chips. And you know, guys, Chips is in your Discord as well as mine. My buddy Chips is a hardcore Sony dude. I mean, not hardcore, but you know what I mean? Like he lets you know that he is a Sony dude. And we had a podcast and he said, if you tell me with Project X Cloud or anything else, and I have a PC here that I'm able to play Halo on my PC, Gears on my PC, all these exclusives on my PC without having to get the hardware, I'm 100% in. And I think that's what Microsoft cares about more so than anything else, is getting people into the ecosystem, not hardware sales, but ecosystem. And I mean, at this point, if you kind of got to get over if you're a fan of Xbox, they're going to win regardless.
Ecosystem, excellent word, man.
Well, the word Xbox is not confined to a box anymore. It's quite it's simple as that. Xbox is an umbrella of software, xCloud, like you know, Play Anywhere, the Xbox itself,
or something like that. I don't know, like the brand name. I love Xbox, like, don't get me wrong, but I think too many people are just slaves to the plastic box, and you just need to get out of that mentality. You know what I'm saying?
No, like, I completely agree.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Welsh, because I know you had something to say.
I cut you off then, man. That was my doing. I'm just agreeing with you.
Do you guys get what I'm saying, though? Because there's a lot of people out there, the old guard is what I call them. They're kind of stuck in their ways. They're like, Xbox is just it's doomed to fail because Microsoft is branching off into PC, right? Nothing's exclusive anymore. Halo's not exclusive. You guys don't have exclusive. You guys don't have games. But like when you take a step outside and you see the bigger picture, it's like you're not limited to just one piece of hardware or other pieces of hardware. It's like when you have a TV right now, right? A smart TV, you can have Netflix on there, you can have Amazon Prime, you can have Hulu. You're not saying I'm an Amazon Prime fanboy and I only rock with them. It's like you play Netflix, you play HBO, you don't even think twice about it. Like that's where gaming's going, is like it's not like localized in the hardware. It doesn't matter where the hardware is necessarily. That's where we're going, right, with these streaming services. So you look at it as a subscription service. It doesn't matter if you're playing it on an LG TV, a Sony, a this or that and that. It's gaming, if that makes sense. So
I totally agree. 100% agree. Like,
not a lot of people are going to accept what I'm saying too, right?
People live in yesterday.
Yeah. So this is going to trigger a lot of people. Trust me. I mean, there's a lot of people that need to have their physical discs. They need to have their consoles. They need to have everything the way it was.
You're going to get those though. That's the thing. You're going to get those. And even Phil said, like, look, cloud gaming is coming, but it's not going to replace console, so don't worry. You know what I mean? Like, so you're going to get it. So why do you need to be salty about other people having opportunities to play the same games that you get to play on another platform, whether it's PC or our tablets or whatever? Like, why is that a thing? That shouldn't really be a thing. And on, like, that just kills me. I don't get it. But stop being salty about it, dog. You still get your console. You still get your console. You still get your games. You still get to play with your buddies on Xbox Live. Don't be mad at PC players who get the opportunity to play the game elsewhere. It's just whatever.
You're absolutely right, man. That's like that childish behavior. That's that fanboy behavior. That's exactly what I try to avoid. Like when someone acts just ridiculous like that, if they got a problem with the game, like, oh, it's not an exclusive anymore. Like, so what? More people are getting to enjoy it, and like more people are getting to play together. It's kind of like cross play. It's like, if you got a problem with it, I just don't understand you. You got to get over it, bro. This is the future.
Exactly.
And it makes sense full circle, because, like, end of the day, the more people you're reaching out to, the more people buying the game, the more money is going into Microsoft's ass pocket, more games and developers can be acquired and made. It's a big circle. Like, just take Minecraft, for instance. Xbox owns that IP, yet they leave it on multi-platform. They dish it out like cupcakes. It's on just about every device you can think of. All that money's going in their pocket. It's genius. Like, it's absolute genius. And then we, as the gamer and as Xbox fans, will only benefit when all these developers come into fruition, and the initiative and Playground and Obsidian in Exile and whatever else they got up their sleeve. The next Xbox console, like, it all costs money, guys. Where do you think that money's coming from?
You know what? I'm going to say it right now. The biggest difference between PlayStation and Xbox is Xbox succeeds on all fronts. And Xbox is a much broader company. PlayStation, their gaming division, is literally covering for many of the other failing divisions, like their phone division. If you've ever seen those stats, they're losing it's just ridiculous. They're just keeping other stations afloat right now, and they should be investing more into the gaming. You know, the thing that's doing them good before it dries up. Because guess what? All wells dry up sooner or later.
Yeah, it's true, man. And like I said before, if you're part of that old guard and you're stuck in your ways, and you got to have your physical disc and you got to have your plastic box, I mean, hold onto that as long as you can. But eventually time catches up to you. If I can say that right, catches up to you, guys. It's time. It catches up to you. Change happens, and that's what's consistent in life. And I just really want to talk about Crackdown 3 real quick, because I was sick and tired of hearing Crackdown. That stank, man. The Crackdown stank was getting to me, man. I had to open the windows, the doors. There was just too much of it. And, you know, a couple months ago, I just said it was getting to the point where they delayed the game. I was like, I don't want to hear about this game unless you guys are telling me it's canceled, or unless you guys can tell me when it's coming out for sure, and then you could show me the multiplayer, because we didn't see the multiplayer. It was supposed to go to Gamescom like a year and a half ago. That never happened. There's just been a lot of controversy surrounding this title. It was announced in 2014, I believe, or 13. It's been so long. I feel like I was back in high school when this was announced, but man, it's been crazy. But we got, like I was saying, I said, if XO brought me Crackdown gameplay of the multiplayer and they delivered on their promises, XO18 would have been a successful event. And that's what they did. We saw Terry Crews bust out, and he was fucking entertaining as all get out. I love him. I can't wait to play as Terry Crews. I wish they'd have an Old Spice armor set that I could pick up. That'd be dope as fuck. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that multiplayer reveal, you know, kind of got the juices flowing. I can't wait to play the single player. Punk, what'd you think of the Crackdown 3 trailer, Terry Crews, and all that good stuff?
No, dude, it was amazing. And before I get started on that, like with the whole XO thing, remember when I said last week, I was like, all I wanted was for it not to suck, you know, because it was inside Xbox, you know. But like we all knew Game Pass was going to be there, which I think they delivered on, which is great because prior, I guess, until Forza was like the last really Game Pass game, you know, and I got a year subscription of it, but I haven't really played or any games off of that service since Forza 4, you know, so to see the games coming out for that is great. But yeah, the Crackdown, that's all we all wanted to see. If you're interested in that game, so if you're still not interested in it, so be it. You know, it's not your thing, and that's cool. But that's all I wanted to see. And you know me, like I thought I was gonna have to miss it, dude, because I was at a Peppa Pig thing with my daughter, you know, so respect hashtag Peppa Pig because she's awesome. But anyways, I was having a good time with my daughter, you know, and I thought my wife was gonna bitch at me. I was like, man, I wish I had some headphones. She like gave me her headphones. I'm like, oh shit, she's gonna watch XO while I'm at my daughter's little fucking Peppa Pig thing. I thought I would like never hear the end of that shit. So I got a pass there, you know, like that's a win in itself. But I'm sitting there watching it, you know, when it gets to like State of Decay and Minecraft, I'm like, all right, let me just turn this shit off for like 10, 15 minutes and I'll come back. And I, you know, got to Crackdown and it looks phenomenal, dude. I mean, the extra work that they put into it, at least it goes to show that Phil Spencer, he did what he said he was going to do. He's like, we're going to delay this shit. I know it sucks, you know, and they didn't show us shit until it was ready, you know, and it looks good. It looks promising, you know, so I'm glad he delivered on that thing. I mean, everyone knows myself, I was going to buy it regardless, but it looked phenomenal, dude. I can't wait to play it. The destruction is cool. Getting with your friends with that is going to be insane. I really I don't understand the full game mode to the extent right now. When we'll get to that when it comes, but man, it looks phenomenal, dude. I can't wait to jump into that thing. But like I said, XO to me, it was a win for what I was expecting, and that's about it.
Nice. I posed the question if people are excited, type of 1, 2. If they're not, I'm seeing lots of 1s, man. I could actually call out the people that said a 2. Chips was one of them.
Yeah, Chips hater.
He doesn't have an Xbox though. And then who else? Tim was another 2 there. So.
I'm excited only because it's in Game Pass. If this wasn't in Game Pass, I wouldn't be excited.
Exactly.
Game Pass changes the game here, people. This is what it is. Game Pass changes the game. It gives you the opportunity to try games that you would not try. I would not have touched Forza Horizon 4 ever in my entire life, but it was in Game Pass, and I played it, and I enjoyed playing Forza Horizon 4. It was a good game. It was a great driving game, but I would have never done it had it not been for Game Pass. So yes, Game Pass changes everything, dude. It really does.
It does, man. I'm right there with you. Never would have bought Forza Horizon 4. Never would have experienced the goodness that was in that game. Speaking of which, I still need to go back and play it. Just too many games. And then Crackdown, man. Honestly, I'm excited for Crackdown because it's in Game Pass. And there's a good sale going on. I don't know if it's still active, but you can get, I'm sure with Black Friday going on, you can get Game Pass for half price or lower. I mean, the sales that are going on right now, which we will kind of discuss that a little bit, are insane, man. Take advantage of these Black Friday sales for sure. Who else hasn't really said anything about Crackdown? If anybody wants to jump in about the Crackdown thing, let me know.
I'll jump in real quick. Okay. 5-3-1 is the record. But anyways,
oh my god,
destruction is there, and ponies eat crow everywhere.
There you go.
You know what? I'm sorry for that PlayStation guy that was here earlier. If you're still here, I don't know, but like maybe you didn't hate on it, but us Xbox guys are under constant bombardment from these PlayStation extremists on Twitter that make absolutely no sense. And if you're a PlayStation guy, you're all right with me. I may not understand it, but you're all right with me until you pass the zone of ridiculousness and the unnecessary hate. And my prime example of this is Crackdown 3, on how people were saying it should be canceled, like it's canceled, like forget about it, and just so much negative hate. Most of this crap came from the PlayStation side of people. If you, like us Xbox fans are just worried, but like I gotta admit, like I was kind of getting like drawn into the negativity. Like I was actually getting worried for the game. Like they're like, you know, people are talking such trash about it. Like I was actually worried for the game, but It looks like the destruction is there. All the, let's celebrate the win. Like rainbows are forming and stuff, and it's awesome.
Rainbows are forming.
Ooh, rainbows are forming.
Anyway, were you talking still?
Oh, sorry, go on, Ty.
All right. So anyway, yeah, it's good news that Crackdown 3 is gonna, it's coming out. A lot of haters were wishing that was gonna get canceled, but they're eating crow right now because it's coming out. It's, we need to figure out where it's gonna rest when it comes to reviews and stuff like that. And the way that what's interesting is Microsoft announced that starting with Crackdown, you can preload games that are in Xbox Game Pass, which is nice because before this point, if you had a game in Game Pass, like all these other people can pre-download their games if they pre-order them, so they have them all installed. So day one they're playing, and then you're like having to install this huge game, right? And then you don't get to play that night or whatever. So they announced that starting with Crackdown, you're gonna be able to preload their games. So that's cool. So I don't have to change like my location settings to be in Australia, so I can download the game first. Right. And then be ready to play, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be able to do that. That's nice. And then what else? Like I said, insane deals going on for Game Pass. I think it's the best bargain in gaming. I think the value for the bucks is second to none there. So XO18, I mean, I think it was mismarketed, but it was successful as a inside Xbox event / fan event overall. So yeah. I think, it
was for the fans, dude. It really was. It was just for the fans, and they didn't do bad. Like I said, looking from the outside looking in, it wasn't bad. I didn't get the hate on it. Like everybody was like, this was a terrible event. Like, no, it wasn't. It was solid. They had some announcements. They showed Crackdown. Like they did okay. They did fine. I never did get the hate on the XO event. Like people are funny, dog. They just hate on everything.
So another update that we received on Xbox is the update for mouse and keyboard support. That was one of the letdowns at the event, honestly. I felt like they could have had more pop with that. They announced the mouse and keyboard support for some of these small tier games, and then Fortnite. And then the Fortnite developer said that it's going to have, detect input, I guess. So you're not going to be matched up against mouse and keyboard players if you don't have a mouse and keyboard. So that's good. But I think that they could have, capitalized on some of the titles that were on PC right now and bring them over, port them over, use the mouse and keyboard. Maybe the Gears Tactic game, make that announcement that it's going to be able to be playable now that there's mouse and keyboard. None of that happened. So I think that was kind of a letdown. What do you guys think about the mouse and keyboard situation?
I think it's cool that they're partnering up with Razer.
Razer, baby.
It looks really cool. And I tell you what's pretty impressive as well. It's like we didn't really get a solid look at what the end product is, but the guy was alluding to the first ever keyboard and mouse setup known to man for the couch. So they're still going to try and implement the casual console couch feel while making and designing a keyboard and mouse, specifically for the Xbox. I think it's going to be interesting. It'll probably numb the blow for people who are primarily controller users like myself. So if games that are going to come from PC to Xbox that need keyboard and mouse, I'm praying hand on heart that one day World of Warcraft find its way over.
Heck yeah.
And if that ever did come over and it was like, yes, it's here, it's on the Xbox, but you need a keyboard and mouse, the most bloody console gamer-friendly keyboard and mouse you can make me, I'm all for. So I think Razer are the best people for the job, and I'm glad Xbox have snapped them up. I can't wait to see what it looks like, because when he said, we're going to try and make it, couch-friendly, I was like, right, okay. Is it going to have, have a weird shape to it where it goes over your knees? And I don't know. I look forward to the end design.
That's a great point. Honestly, Razer, I think, is the #1 brand when it comes to keyboards and mouse and keyboards. Basically, the main obstacle for me, there's a lot of them, but it's sitting on a couch and using a mouse and keyboard. It's like when I think about it, I think that I have to get like a TV dinner tray or something like that, and have my mouse and keyboard there. It doesn't really resonate with me as a gamer. It just seems inconvenient. I know that they have, setups and stuff like that, but if they could overcome that main obstacle of it being inconvenient, yeah, it'd be something I would look into, because it would open up the opportunity to play games that I can't play right now that need that mouse and keyboard support. And I think that this is just going to be in the future. I think Xbox is going to start bringing over games like, World of Warcraft or Dota or any of those games. Just if you have the support,
Why are you not?
Age of Empires, exactly. So we'll see what happens with mouse and keyboard support in the future. They didn't really get into specifics about what games are going to be coming in the future. So it was just, I don't know, that section was kind of a disappointment there. But without further ado, let's talk about this main topic, man. This main topic is crazy.
Oh, we're just now getting to this main topic?
Yes, sir. So,
dude, there was a lot of meat and potatoes in this podcast. We're just now getting to this, man. Good
it's
Lord.
Crazy. It's crazy, man. Like I said, this has been an outstanding episode. If you guys have stayed with us, which you guys have, it's been outstanding. Make sure to hit that like button. If you're new, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon so you know when we go live in the future. So news broke late. It was later in the day. Titan, sent me a DM with that questionable site, and it says PlayStation and Sony are going to be skipping E3 2019. I was like, Titan, where'd you find this? On some like deep dark subreddit somewhere, like some fake website?
It's true.
So, and then all of a sudden I just started seeing site after site after site after site report on it, and I'm just like, holy shit. Is this true? I mean, is this a possibility? I mean, to this point, I think it's been over 20 years that PlayStation and Sony have been at E3. It'd be like the first time in 23 years that they don't go to E3. And it just seems kind of an impossibility that this would be something that would happen. It just seems like an April Fool's joke to me. But with the amount of sites reporting on this, it seems like all but confirmed, and there's some signs pointing to this. The fact that they canceled PSX this year, the fact that they've showed the same 4 games for the last 3 fucking years, or whatever it's been. It seemed like the same games that they showed over and over. And then also they had this weird meeting that was reported on, that and the executives at PlayStation said they're gonna crouch down and then before they stand up. I don't know what the exact quote was, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of took that, message, but I didn't really think that 2019 was going to be void of content. And they're just going to be like, well, guys, we were supposed to have content 2019, but we'll see you in 2020.
People are talking about they're supposed
keep it real.
Freaking console release their console in 2019.
Nah, that console. So that's another thing that I want to say. People were like all over this thing, like PlayStation 5's dropping in 2019. That shit ain't happening. The Last of Us 2 or whatever it was, they're saying that that's going to be coming out. That's coming out in 2019. That's not happening. Ghost of Tsushima, that's not coming out in 2019. You're going to get Days Gone and some other game. I forgot what it was called, but that's about it for 2019. So all the people that love to troll Xbox and say that they had no games and all this other stuff, it's kind of karma. It starts returning, right? Yeah. So I saw a lot of PlayStation enthusiasts and fanboys that love to be toxic and troll on Xbox fans. They were awful quiet in the social networking Twitter streets, as they say. So let's get into this topic. It's interesting. Let's start off with Welsh. What do you think, man, about this news?
Well, we were chatting a little bit before we went live, and all I can say is this is crazy. Assuming that it is, in fact, a done deal. It is all, like you said, all but confirmed. It's mental. I mean, I've been saying for a while, and you've said it as well, Salty. I think a lot of savvy gamers, if you've been around the industry enough and you read, you can read this, you can see the signs and the telltale sign. It's been it's been telling for a while that, like, PlayStation, and they are guilty of it. They while it is a strategy to get their fan base hyped, they have got a knack of showing games that are like years out. With the most recent being like Last of Us 2, Death Stranding, Days Gone. They're just the first three that come to mind. I mean, like, I have no idea when they're going to come out. It wouldn't surprise me if they launch titles for the PS5. But it's just, how can you, like, year after year they're showing CGI cutscenes for a game that is like so early in its development. Like, I remember the one year, like 2-3 years ago, with the Death Stranding trailer. It was, I still to this day laugh my head off when I think about it. Not because it was a bad trailer, but because it just left me in the winds. It was just Norman Reedus naked holding a baby, and that was it. And it was just like, okay. And now, like 3-4 years later, we still know bloody nothing about the game. It's crazy. It's just, it has come full circle. I just think PlayStation, while they have been, you know, firing on all cylinders with the first party, there's no denying that they've done a fantastic job. I just think they have, in fact, blown their load, and they have nothing to show. Like, I'm not naive. I'm not stupid. Every platform will have projects up their sleeve. They're obviously going to be working on the next generation stuff, but they're obviously in a position where they haven't got anything fresh and new that they can actually show. And I mean, if I was a PlayStation fan, would I be concerned? I don't know. That I'll leave that to the panel to decide that, because I'm curious what you guys think. But this is crazy. This is crazy. But it'll be the first time, like, Xbox will be starting E3 without the concern for Sony going behind the scenes and changing shit, like the price of the PS4 and shit like that.
Yeah, I have to give a shout out to Chris Jones. I know you're a PlayStation fanboy and you're a little salty right now, but you said that, you know, Xbox isn't going to have games till 2022 or some shit. Well, sorry to break it to you, but Gears 5 is coming out, Ori's coming out, Forza Horizon 4 came out, tons of games are coming out, Ashen's coming out. But I don't need to beat that drum, and this is just the beginning. So that's the problem here. Yeah, I think Sony is resting on their laurels per se. They know that they have the market right now. They're nearing the 100 million mark of consoles sold, and they're just, you know, they know that the consoles will sell because they have those titles of God of War and Spider-Man and all that other stuff, right? Horizon Zero Dawn. You can, you know, market those to the casuals and stuff like that. But the fan base, if you're a fan base right now, you got to kind of be salty because, you know, you're all about the games, and, you know, supposedly you guys have games and stockpiles of games, and games are going to be coming out all the time. But to have this big of a drought, to the fact that you're not going to be even going to the biggest game show, arguably in America. I mean, they say that Gamescom is bigger, but when it comes to announcements and stage presence, there's nothing that compares to E3. So the fact that you cancel PSX and then you follow that up by saying, hey, we're not even going to show up at E3, that's kind of alarming to me, honestly. I don't care what you've done in the past. That's kind of the saying, right? It's what have you done for me now? I don't give a fuck what you did in the past. It's about now, okay? Because all that stuff in the past is in the past. Like, if you played God of War, you played Spider-Man, you're looking for new games. If you don't have games and you guys are all about the games, then that's a problem. That's a situation, right? So Days Gone looks like it's going to be a dumpster fire, honestly. I'm predicting a high. What's up?
Sorry, Matt. It's just not to mention that most games you mentioned just then that Sony have already released are
exactly
one and dones. I mean, I hate to be the one to say it, but, like, how, you know, there's only so many times you can swing from a building. There's only
hell, I'll say it too. I'm right there with you, bro. One and done.
You know, so there's no replayability, nothing bringing you back to that game. At least, like, for games like Gears 4 and Halo, which are years old, I'm constantly going back to those games because of the replayability. The online is forever being supported. I could beat that drum all the time. I didn't want to cut you off, Salty, but I had to say that.
No, but honestly, it's just, you know, I'm hearing Death Stranding and all this other stuff. Like, we don't even know what kind of game Death Stranding is, honestly, dude. Like, Ghost of Tsushima, that game, you know, we saw somewhat of a gameplay of that. That didn't even look close to being finished to me, honestly. And then The Last of Us, That shit didn't, people were questioning if that was even in engine and some other shit. Like there's some weird shit going on with that. So when it comes to titles in 2019, I would be shocked if we see anything more than, like I said, Days Gone is supposed to be coming out. They're going to get that out of there. They didn't even think Days Gone was important enough to show it at E3 2018. It was like in the pre-show. They're kind of embarrassed about Days Gone, to be honest with you. There's something going on with that game. Eurogamer had a look at it, and they were kind of like, oh, my God, this is kind of like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's going to be critically acclaimed. I don't think it's going to sell well, and they have some other game coming out. But beyond that, 2019 is going to be bleak. So I remember how bleak it was for Xbox in 2016, 17 range. That's going to be kind of similar here for PlayStation 2019. But during that time, Xbox didn't come out and say, hey, we're not going to E3, right?
Yeah, so. Exactly. And you know what? Harrison Smith. But who knew that literally hours before this podcast started, this almost unbelievable news breaks. Sony isn't coming to E3. So, I gotta take a breath for this because this is gonna be long. It looks like they're gonna be on their knees for a while, people. Like, where's your damage control for this one, ponies? Because Jesus, by the time PlayStation comes off this hiatus, it's gonna be literally 2 years since you've heard from them. Like 2 years, like games are made within 2 years sometimes. Like that's and Sony hasn't even talked to you fans in this time. It's crazy to me. But I have to read a passage from this post, and I quote: "PlayStation fans mean the world to us, and we always want to innovate, think differently, and experiment with new ways to delight gamers. As a result, we have decided not to participate in E3 in 2019. Well, if that's not ass backwards, I don't know what is.
Shit.
And the next line is a doozy because here it goes. We are exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019 and can't wait to share the plans with you. Well, I don't know what crap you're talking about. New ways to communicate. Maybe you guys are going to use VR. Who the fuck knows what that means? but the familiar way was E3. It was E3. That's the familiar way. So I don't really like. It's like me telling my kids, like, boys, I love you. You mean the world to me. It's like me telling my kids this, like, I love you. You mean the world to me. But I want to explore new ways to engage with you. So I'm going to take off. I'll see you in a couple of years, okay? Like, until you guys can play some, like, mature games. But it's like Sony literally has the worst liars in the world working for them. Like, and you ponies just need to pony up and admit you're all brainwashed and get a mass intervention. Hey, maybe this mass intervention is the way Sony is going to want to talk to you guys now. What do you guys think?
Hey, I've seen a lot of Greg Miller things. Yeah, man, he was the ultimate damage controller today on Twitter. Man, he got this news and he's like, man, the Sony brass is like smart. I'm sure they got this all planned out and blah 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 thought out. Yeah. I'm just like, come on, dude.
It's like, let's be honest, man. They blew their load, just like Welsh said. They literally blew their load. And you know what? It's like when you're young, you could blow 10 loads an hour. But when you get older, when you get older, it takes a little longer to reload the chamber, if you know what I mean.
Anyway, I think that it comes down to maybe it was the planning could have been better for PlayStation. Maybe just God of War comes out 2018, save Spider-Man for 2019, kind of spread it out more, and it would kind of go over easier with the fans. I don't know if that kind of addresses the E3 situation for them, but I think it would have been easier for people to swallow that way because it's two huge games, but once they come out together, it's kind of like the Nintendo situation. They had Odyssey and Zelda come out, and then there's this huge gap, So, Nick, what do you think of this situation, man?
I'm kind of in the middle. I think that they can always still announce stuff coming, whether they can still do what they want. I think they're more so I guess, following Nintendo's brand here, where Nintendo just announces stuff whenever they want to. They don't wait for the big announcements. They have their own directs and stuff. So I think they might be following that model a little bit. I don't think it's as big as a deal as everybody's making it. I just think that they don't have anything down the line that's major. They don't have any for sure things, so they're being smart with their money and not wasting their money to go to E3. I think that's what it is. I'm not damage controlling. I just think clearly what it comes down to is money. We don't have anything. We don't have anything to announce. We're not going. We're not wasting our money to go there. We'll tell you whenever we want to. So,
but Nick, you mentioned those Nintendo Directs. They didn't skip E3 though, right?
They didn't skip E3, and that's the kind of the killer here. They could still always go to E3. So that's my thing. They don't have anything. They're not gonna waste their money. I don't think it's a huge deal, but at the end of but at the same time, I kind of agree with you guys. It's not a good look, but at the same time, they're still killing it. So
if Nintendo came out and said, "Hey, we're not going to E3 2019," that wouldn't bother you a little bit as a fan?
Depending on what
hell yeah, it would.
Honestly, bro, I really don't know, because depending on what the reasoning is, we're not going to E3 because whatever. But
because we got no content to show.
But Nintendo kind of handles their own narrative with these directs, dude. They really do. So that's my point. Is like Sony can still control their own narrative with whatever ways they feel like doing it. But all I gotta say is this: I'm just not as extreme as you guys are on this, dude. Sorry.
I appreciate coming from the other side. I truly do, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's what makes things good about this discussions. Not everybody's, circle jerking each other into the oblivion here on the podcast and make it boring. So basically what we're saying here is this is a potential PR nightmare for PlayStation, honestly. If they don't handle this right and they don't spin it right, this is going to be bad. Like, imagine if it was Xbox. Take it on the other side for now. Imagine if Xbox came out and said, we're not going to E3. You know what would come out from the media? Xbox is done. Xbox is getting out of the gaming business. Xbox is closing down. There's no hope for Xbox. There's no games. There's no this. There's no that. So you see like the hypocrisy there when it comes to these news stories.
I do see it. I mean, I'm with you there, dude. I do see it 100%. I'm just saying, me personally, as somebody looking at it, I don't find it that big of a deal. Just me personally. Now, people are gonna, set flames to them for it. Me personally, okay, cool. They're not going to E3. That's fine. I can still watch Xbox, and I can still watch Nintendo, whatever. And if Nintendo didn't go to Xbox, go to E3, cool. I can still watch Xbox. I can still watch Sony, all that stuff. It doesn't really exactly bother me. Sony's going to control the narrative no matter what. We already know this. Like the media is going to do it for them, and they're going to do it for themselves. So we already know it's not. I don't think it's going to be that big of a PR night.
So what I'm trying to say is, okay, you won the console generation. That's right, fine.
Though. You've sold the most consoles. Let's just state it as that. Let's stop saying they won the generation.
Okay, so in reality, which I stated on Xbox Nation, sales numbers don't tell the whole story, right? That's not the whole picture when it comes to how healthy your company is. It's about profit margin. They don't make that much money from hardware. It's important because that moves software and that moves other things, but it's not the end all be all, right? So it's good that they have this 100 million mark that they're going to be hitting, and they've done extremely well this generation, but it speaks out to me of poor planning, right?
Yeah.
When you have this huge gap to the point where you're actually pulling out of one of the biggest PR point for your company, it's like you're basically saying we don't need E3, we don't have the content for that, or a combination of the two, right?
I don't think it's saying they don't need it. I really think it's saying they don't have what it takes to be there. Like Hoopy in the chat said it well. Sony skipping E3 in the first time in history, it's a big deal, and it is a big deal.
It is, but we see that in the console generations, you have the market leader, and they get this lead, and traditionally they start making dumb mistakes and errors, right?
That's true.
And then the other, like the people that have been down the whole console generation, they move their way up and they kind of fill that gap. Mm-hmm. Like Xbox is hitting on strides with Game Pass and services and getting studios and all this other stuff. It's like, yes, PlayStation has an insurmountable lead this generation, but the gap will be narrowed if you just don't show shit. You don't show up to E3. You're not in the people's mindsets. The cost of the Xbox One X is going down.
And that's where I'm saying, if they are able to control the narrative some way, before that, they'll be fine. If they don't, and they just go rogue and don't say nothing, then that's a problem.
I don't know what you guys are saying. Control the narrative, like the narrative is already controlled. It seems like as long as whoever has the most,
there's multiple ways to get news out and to announce things that isn't E3.
Yeah.
No,
that's all I'm saying. Xbox does it with inside Xbox. Nintendo does it with Nintendo Direct. Sony could always do something their own. They don't. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you though, Titan. I'm with you completely, Titan. 100%. They don't need to control the narrative. The narrative will be controlled for them. Salty alluded to it just a moment ago, and he is absolutely bang on the money there with the salt shakers, as always. End of the day, if the shoe was on the other foot, this would be a totally different story. This would be spun totally differently. If this was Xbox announcing that they didn't have anything to show at E3, it'd be a wrap. It'd be a wrap.
Clearly, people need to realize that, and people need to realize that, and they really don't. That's what's wrong with.
They
don't
people. Want to realize that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's really wrong with people, man.
They don't want to realize that there is like, this disdain for Xbox that makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make. It doesn't just make zero sense to you. It makes 0 sense. Period.
But I agree with you. But once again, like you guys said, the narrative will get controlled for them, and
here's the reason why.
Ways to do it.
Here's the reason why the narrative is controlled for them. I think is because they have the most consoles sold. So and like Salty already said, the narrative is already being damage controlled by that one cloud. What was that guy's name you mentioned? I don't remember, but he's like already damage controlling the shit like fucking like within the hour of the shit happening. Yeah, within the hour, like this dude's like responding to himself in his own post. Like I'm just gonna make a conversation because I got a bunch of followers. It's like dude, you're a clown. Like just like people don't realize the facts. Let's just take the facts, okay? People need to step back, stop looking at consoles sold, and realize the facts of what is happening. That's all I've got to say. Just realize the facts.
Okay.
Well, if we're going by facts, the recent numbers that
hashtag facts
about active users, Xbox actually has the higher user count per sale, especially when it concerns EA and Ubisoft. Like Ubisoft specifically came out with the, I believe, Assassin's Creed Odyssey numbers, however many months ago, and it was day and night. Like there was more of an attach rate with the Xbox, and that's with half the units. So units do not speak anything really. I mean, when you can think about all the special edition consoles and all the different SKUs, I mean, while I wish Xbox would do that, but I mean, expand and have more options with the limited edition consoles and stuff. But I mean, like when you got collectors out there who literally have one of everything. One person could own over 20 fucking PlayStations because each one has a different skin on it. Then that goes on the big number. Like that's like added to the whole 80 million. I'm not taking anything away. That's a huge number. But to say that speaks for everything, like that number equals success, you couldn't be more wrong. Xbox gives you active user numbers, which is the most important thing. That is what you give a developer or a fund or whoever's like funding a project. If you're pitching an idea, you come forward.
Like Game Pass. How do they pass off Game Pass to these developers? Like say, we're gonna give your game away for free. How do you do that? Because we got people playing our system. That's how. Face 23 BKNY said, "Yeah, what's the facts though?" And if the facts are Game Pass, the facts are Xbox is going to the next E3. The facts are Xbox has all these, like there's tons of facts I can go in on. You guys can go in on it too. I don't think it's necessary.
Calm down, sir. So I gotta like not trying to say people right here on the panel are fanboys. You may or may not be.
Oh my God,
no, but I gotta be. Hey, shut up. Anyways, listen. No, because I'm about to give Nick props. Like, I'm honestly on Nick's side. Like, are we, at the end of the day, are we really that naive? And I know E3 is a huge event. It's the biggest event of the year. But are we that naive to sit here and think that Sony's that fucking stupid and just not going to do anything?
Okay.
Zero.
I mean, all we can go is off of what we're
I know the
told,
game.
right?
You guys are talking about the games, and they push all these games, too early, and and I can see where you're getting that perspective, but we can't sit here and say that if they don't go to E3, then they're shooting themselves in the fucking foot. I mean, we just said it's their biggest moneymaker.
Dude, that's what I said when I saw the first leak, and when I posted it
I don't see. It's a big deal that they're not going, but I don't want to sit here and talk all this shit or whatever, and then come find out, here we are again, Sony whooping our ass again. Then it's like a fucking more, and that's just being real, dude. I mean, come on, come on, guys, you got to see that part of the point too. I see everything you guys are saying, but we also sound like a bunch of fucking jackasses at the same time.
So you're saying it's a lot of smoke and mirrors,
I'm not
right?
Here,
Punk,
I'm not sitting here fucking talking.
Punk.
I'm not sitting here sticking up for all the ponies and all that shit, man. It's just
something's
in the water.
Punkinish, man. I said at the beginning when it was when I first talked on this topic, I'm not gonna be that naive person and assume that Sony has nothing up their sleeve. That is idiotic. They obviously have. They're obviously working on the PS5 and the launch titles for that. There's obviously something going on. But
I'm not. I don't obviously. I probably speak the least on this podcast. But as I'm sitting back, and I listen to you guys and we learn from each other. But to me, all I'm hearing is fucking everyone throwing out our fucking green flags. You know what I'm saying? We all know we prefer Xbox, but we're also sounding a bunch of idiots.
Well,
that's just my take. And I love all you guys. I'm not putting you down,
I love you too, brother.
I love you guys, but you sound like some idiot.
Hey, he said
I will not be on the podcast.
Punk, man. Explain exactly why we're sounding like idiots, though. Just the direct.
I'm not saying idiot.
No.
Words, dude, but
I know what you're saying. No, I know what you're saying. Man. I get it. But what's your reason for that?
What he's saying is basically they could come out and say something that rectifies the situation, right? We have another conference or we have this and that, and they show stuff there, and then all the shit that we're talking right now comes back to bite you, right? Oh,
and that's the point I'm trying to
stuff
make.
In the plan, right? It's all part of the plan.
Exactly.
Not that it's all part of the plan, but they can always do something themselves, and then they'll be a-okay. That's all I'm saying.
Sony's too big just to fucking scrap it all.
Do they need E3? No.
Well, they haven't done anything.
Do I think they need to go to E3? Yes.
Well, they haven't done it today. Take the facts. Today, they announced they're not going to E3, and you got all these people damage controlling.
But we live in 2018, almost 2019, where you can stream anything, everything, whenever you want to, and make an announcement. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
They don't. So yes, they're not going to E3. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. They're not going to E3. They can still control their own narrative and announce something, and the media will help them out. That's all I'm saying.
All right,
the media is on their side.
This could. I agree completely. And you know what? This could still all be a lie. This could be a blatant lie. This could be all smoke and mirrors.
Well, why are we talking?
And but you know what? Yeah, we're talking because we only have to go off what we're given, right? So we talk about what we're given, the information that is presented to us, and that's why we talk.
Yeah, no,
I mean, that's what podcasts are about, man. You got to take stuff with a grain of salt, no pun intended. But honestly, what fun would it be if you play everything safe? You know what I'm saying? If I was to be a YouTuber and I played everything safe, I would be the most boring fuck on YouTube that you ever heard. You know what I'm saying?
Can we say that Sony's not playing it safe by not going to E3?
I mean, both sides. You could say that you could say that, man, this is a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out. You know what I'm saying? Or you could say that they're dumbasses for doing this. I don't know. You could take your pick of what you want to see about it.
Bold strategy.
That's the beautiful thing about podcasts. I mean, end of the day, we're going off the information given. We could, in a week's time, they could come out and say something that completely renders us everything we've said pointless. But right here and now, this information is pretty deep. It's a deep wound, and for me, if I was a PlayStation fan, or anything regarding PlayStation, call me a fanboy for saying it, but I honestly do think it's not a good look. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. You got to call your shots, and I'm glad that we had two sides of the coin tonight, because it would have been weird if we all were on one side or whatever. Sometimes we are, but there's two sides of the narrative, man. I mean, this could be a good thing. It could be shit. It could be this and that, and that's for you to decide. And that's why the chat's been lit tonight. It's been going back and forth for the most part.
Yeah.
This man said Sony don't need E3, but E3 needs Sony. Since when?
E3 needs
forever,
Sony.
dog.
Confirmed. E3 is going to collapse. It's not
I'm
gonna
sorry.
happen.
That was no. What? No, E3 doesn't need Sony.
You people are killing me, man. You're killing me.
E3 is
it.
E3. Like, get real. E3 will still exist.
E3 is not happening. Confirmed.
Sony is newsflash. Sony is not
what's
going
even
to
the
E3.
point?
Therefore, E3 is no more.
Yeah.
Honestly, on the topic though of narratives being, given, helped out, but for PlayStation, here's the articles. I read it now. Will E3 survive without PlayStation? Will PlayStation's absence have an impact on the popularity of E3 going into 2019? I can see all the articles now by Gaming Bolt, Kotaku.
Yeah, how's E3 gonna continue without PlayStation announcing their one and done games over and over again? How are they gonna survive? I don't know.
How will E3 survive without the Post and Pat Baby Edition simulator?
The one joy I'm getting from this is the fact that Nintendo and Sony, or not Nintendo and Sony, but Nintendo and Xbox both just came out with their shots like, yo, don't worry, we're gonna be at E3. We can't wait to show our brand new games. Like, I thought that was pretty funny. Like Phil Spencer came out real quick, and then Reggie came out like a few hours later. Like, both of them are ready to go. So I just thought that was pretty funny.
Dude, I feel like Phil Spencer is like Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch Out. He's just like, like one hitting motherfucker.
So anyway, I wanted to talk about the Game Awards, but damn, we're out of time. But long story short,
right, we are 2 hours, dog.
Long story short, the Game Awards are being dominated by Sony, and good for them. They've had a great year in 2018. See, that's a positive. Who's saying I don't say positive shit about PlayStation? Come on,
they're not gonna count that, Salty.
So anyway, the Game Awards dominated by PlayStation, and it's very. There's like no award nominations for Xbox.
Celeste.
There's like three. There's
Celeste
like three
Game
for
of the Year.
Celeste. I don't even know what that is, but
Celeste Game of the Year. Let's go.
Right?
People make it happen. Vote on it.
So anyway, we'll get into the Game Awards probably next week. But man, this shit's been outstanding tonight, folks. You guys, we appreciate everybody in the chat. Honestly, I appreciate everybody. Even Chris. Is that your name? I don't know, Chris. Keep your side.
Chris Jones, Mike Jones' nephew.
You make it fun, even though you're kind of in the minority, it is what it is. We kept it
and a lot of respect for that guy too, because he's not a troll. He's not ridiculous. He's just a PlayStation fan here on Xbox somewhat centric podcast. And that's awesome, man. Kudos.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody in the chat, kind of keeping it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god, dude.
It's awesome. Awesome hanging out with you guys. Shit's lit, man. Honestly. So let's get to our outros. I know Welsh got to get to sleeping. It's late over there. Man, I hope you enjoyed your time. We enjoyed having you, man. It's amazing having you, dude. Where can people find you?
No, Salty, man. Thanks for having me. I love coming on this show, man. I'm really getting into my podcasting again at the minute. Doing the Xbox Factor with Boom as well. Shameless plug, but please go over and check it out, guys, if anyone hasn't. We had a good show earlier today. It is currently 3:57 a.m. for me, and I've had 2 cups of coffee, so there'll be no sleeping for me.
I had coffee too, man, so I'll be up. Maybe I'll hit you up if you're online. So
I was going to say, mate, I'm more than likely going to just jump on the Xbox when I'm done at PS, so I'll definitely jump in the party, guys. But where you guys can find me is the Welsh Gamer, 3 words for YouTube. Content's been light, but hey ho, busy guy. And Twitter at the Welsh Gamer 93, 1 word. But boom, Christ, sorry, Salty. Thanks again for having me. Always a pleasure. Would love to come on again. It's awesome, man. Had a fun time. Hey,
like I said, you're like a brother to me, man. You're on the other side of the pond, but I don't know. You just click with some people, and if there wasn't, I wish there wasn't this like time difference. My friends in Australia, I try to play with them. It's like big time difference. Even on East Coast, I'm trying to play with Punk. he's got to go to bed for work. It sucks, man. The time difference thing is just a pain in the ass. But yeah, anytime you want to sacrifice some sleep, we love having you on. You're one of the crowd here at TSGP. We love having you. Let's get to the man that blew one of the veins out in his head. Titans Drago, where can people find you, man?
You can find me in everything, Titan Drago. And you know what? Everyone, I just got to say for a closing statement, I love blowing my own horn. But I love it.
What?
Hey, I love
you love blowing your own horn?
Everyone loves blowing their own horn.
Clip
man. Everyone.
Somebody
please finish this outro ASAP.
Hashtag blowing my own horn.
We all love blowing our own horn. God damn it.
That was his outro. I love blowing my own horn. I'm out.
And done. Titan Drago.
Okay. Awesome. Check this guy's channel out as well. I have all the information in the description. Punkish Gaming, thanks for keeping it real tonight. You were on that side with Nick. Appreciate it. Where can people find you?
Man, you can find me on Twitter, Punkish Gaming, on Xbox, Punkish. And yeah, man, big shout out to Welsh, man. I love when he's on the show, man. He said he keeps it real, and I like his take on pretty much every topic we ever talk about. And one quick thing, Titan, I didn't hear you yell out Kirk Cousins in it. You know what I'm saying?
Kirk Cousins for the outro.
yeah, exactly. So, no, I had a blast here, man. As always, I had to keep it real on that last part. You know,
appreciate it, man.
That's what I do. You know, same with you, Salty. So I'm with you, man. I had a blast, man.
Sweet. Nick, thanks for being here, man. We love getting that Nintendo side and that other side, keeping us our green flags in check.
Keeping them in check.
So where can people find you?
Yes, sir. You can find me on Twitch, because that is now my favorite place to stream now is Twitch, Nintendo Direct. So you can catch me there. You also catch me on YouTube. Salty's got the links in the description. I see that.
Yep.
And you can also catch me on Twitter. It's all there. Salty got the hookup in the description box. Having fun. So hopefully the Seahawks can hand the Packers this L, so you two Viking fans can be happy, and then I can be happy as well.
Yeah.
And so getting ready to watch that as soon as this is over. And I appreciate everybody in the chat. This was really a lot of fun. This one was a lot of fun, honestly. I'm not gonna say like all shows are terrible, but this one was very fun with everybody in the chat, with the way it was going. I think we maxed out like 110 at one point, which is dope.
I think it was 115, 120.
I saw 119.
Yeah, 120. I think
it was great. This was a good one. So appreciate everybody in the chat. It was great.
Yeah, like I said, if you're new, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because you'll know when we go live in the future. Salty Thursdays are always a fun time, always a good time. But this was extra special. It was fun to be here, man. The time flew by, man. 2 hours just blew by. Amazing. So anyway, that's going to do it for this Thursday. Salty Thursday is over, unfortunately. Cry me a river. I'll cry you one. Get your drink of choice. Make sure you keep it gaming. And as always, stay salty, my friends.
Cry me a